I'm gonna paraphrase the original quote by Jim. Right? Between the circle. Reflection. Yep. How are you? Good. Huh? You think? All right.
Now let us settle into a spirit of worship with a moment of quiet to be followed by the music of Prelude in E-flat minor by Johannes Sebastian Bach. You're also invited to light a silent candle of joy or sorrow at this time. These words by Dillman Baker Sorrells. For holy days on which we recall old stories, we light the flame. For Passover, which reminds us of the courage and strength of those seeking freedom in the past, we light this flame. For Easter, which reminds us that love is our greatest challenge, we light this flame. For gathering today in this sacred space, we light this flame. For the opportunity to be together as a community, to remember the past, to plan for our future, to be alive in our present, we light this flame.
Good morning and happy Easter. That will never do. Good morning and happy Easter. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Worcester, a congregation of love, hope, and justice, inspiring people to take on the challenges of a changing world. My name is Diane Mann, and I am one of your worship associates this morning. We begin by acknowledging that in Worcester, Massachusetts, we work, learn, live, and worship on the seized ancestral homeland of the Nipmuc people, who survive and remain active as the Nipmuc Nation. We offer a special welcome to those of you who are new or visiting us for the first time this morning. We are delighted that you are here. We hope that you will join us in Fellowship Hall following the service for refreshments and conversation. If you have questions or desire more information about this service or any of the ministries and programs of this congregation, please do not hesitate to ask. We invite you to fill out one of the cards found in the pews. These cards can be placed in the offering plate or given to one of the ushers or greeters this morning. For those of you joining us online this morning, we offer you a very special welcome. For safety purposes and so that we might come to know you better, as you are able, please place your name on your video feed. Please take a moment to sign one of the attendance clipboards that are now being circulated. Though you are not obligated to sign, we appreciate your information and will use it only for church purposes. During the service, we offer an opportunity to share a brief personal joy or sorrow. If you would like yours to be read aloud by the minister, please print it on an index card in the pew and drop it in the collection plate when it comes around. These cards will also be posted outside the minister's office to be shared with our friends at other services. For those online, you can place a joy or sorrow in the chat, and we will read and share it during this time in the service. In the foyer are listening devices and large print service programs and hymnals for those who may find their assistance beneficial. Please see one of our ushers who will be pleased to assist you. I now invite you to turn your technology to worship mode. And finally, please note the announcements on the back of your program. There will be time for short verbal announcements following the postlude. We are so glad that you are here and hope that this morning is an opportunity for rest, reflection, and rejuvenation. Our opening words are entitled Easter Again, and they are by Linda Susan Ulrich. We live inside paradox. Humans generally don't like to admit it. We much prefer tidy, stable, comprehensible, logical ways of getting through the day. But paradox is woven into the fabric of this particular universe we inhabit. Light is both a particle and a wave. Imaginary numbers describe the math of physical phenomena. Love and grief are inextricably linked, as are rage and sorrow, suffering and companion, life and death. Time itself is both linear and cyclical. Each person's life traces a single arc, yet patterns emerge and reemerge. Fear always seems to return. Goodness knows terror finds its way back into the news. We always seem in need of help to roll back big stones that block our way. Yet, we also come back to the Alleluia, even if its absence has gone on far longer than the 40 days of Lent. We raise each other's spirits when our sacred places seem empty. We anoint each other. We engage in a demanding faith that asks us to love the next world into being today. We are joyful, though we have considered all the facts. We practice resurrection. It is Easter again, my friends, and you are surrounded by a multitude who wish you well.
Friends, would you join together in our opening hymn found in your teal or your gray hymnals, number 269, Lo, the Day of Days is Here. Please rise in body or in spirit. Lo, the Day of Days is here. Alleluia. Festival of hope and cheer. Alleluia. Let the south wind's genial breath. Alleluia. Nature wakes from seeming death. Alleluia. Fields are smiling in the sun. Alleluia. Loosen streamlets seaward run. Alleluia. Tender blade and leaf appear. Alleluia. 'Tis the springtide of the year. Alleluia. Oh, the Eastertide is here. Alleluia. Music thrills the atmosphere. Alleluia. Join people all and sing. Alleluia. Love and praise and thanksgiving. Alleluia. Please be seated. I want to invite our basket bearers to come forward at this time for our Change for Change. Those of you who are new with us this morning, this is the weekly opportunity that those in our religious exploration program have to contribute to the emergency fund of this congregation. If you have change that you would like to contribute, please raise your hand and one of our basket bearers will find you quickly. Couple more hands. I don't know why it is that we always have problems with the far right of the congregation. And if you would be willing to bring your baskets forward to me, we are going to invite you to come forward for a story. So if you would be willing to come and join right on the floor there in front of the chalice. May I have that? Thank you so much. All right, and you guys can go up front.
Look who's here.
Thank you so much.
Come up and sit with me. Look at who's here. Bunny's going to remind me of one of my favorite. It's your birthday? It's your birthday. Wow, what a great day this is. Happy birthday to you. It is, isn't it? It's Easter. Well, does that happen often? No, so it's an extra special Easter today. You may get comfortable. It's okay. It's okay. You want to sit with him? Okay. All right. So, let me share with you a special story. And people can listen to it as they are comfortable. And only as they are comfortable. It's all good. I'm going to tell you a story that isn't actually mine, but written by somebody else, about a time that they were part of a special competition at Easter. This person's name was Lavinia. And when she was little, she went to school at a place in which they had a competition every now and then. The only time that she ever won a competition was an Easter egg decorating contest. It was such an exciting, that's exciting. Not only that, she didn't quite win. The presentation was done by the guy that wrote Peter Pan. Do you know that story? It makes it really, isn't it? It's a really fun story with fairies and pirates and lost children. Anyway, yes, Captain Hook. Are you a little scared of Captain Hook sometimes? Me too. But luckily, this Easter egg contest took place, and he didn't have an Easter egg to decorate. He went to see a friend. She was named Jessie, and she was the odd job woman, and she showed him how to make an Easter egg using lace and tea, and it made a beautiful pattern on the egg. He should have been really proud when he won that competition, but he wasn't, because he didn't actually make the egg, Jessie did. But he didn't tell anybody. Ever do something like that? Where maybe you kind of did it and kind of didn't do it, and you went ahead and enjoyed it anyway? Well, he had a hard time enjoying it. So the next year, he knew when he was going to, exactly how to do this, he was going to be sure that he won. He got 2 eggs this time, because his family raised chickens. He got 2 eggs, and he dyed them extra special with very, very special lace and really, really strong tea. And so they were extra special good. So he knew he was going to win this time. So he took them with him, wrapped up in paper so they wouldn't break. He took them with him to school. And he did his things as he always must do. He was required to stop by at Wee Willie's and pick up Wee Willie and make sure he made it to school, because he didn't always come to school. And he didn't really like doing that, but he knew he was supposed to do that, so he put his eggs in his basket, and he walked over to Wee Willie's and really was pushing Wee Willie to come outside. Wee Willie was taking his time, and when he came out, he was all disheveled. He was dirty, his clothes had holes in them, and he looked really sad. He didn't want to go to school looking like that. But there were these eggs in his pockets that he had to get a prize for. So he said, come on, come, it's the egg competition. And then Wee Willie said, I can't go, I don't have an egg. And so thought about it, and well, I have 2 eggs, and I really need to get to school. Here, he gave Wee Willie one of the eggs, all wrapped up in the paper. And then he went inside and told them that they were going to school, and off they went. And as he went out, he looked down, and when they got to school, he turned to Wee Willie, and Wee Willie didn't have anything in his hands, but he had yellow right here, and there was bits and pieces of eggshell on the ground. And he turned to him and said, "What? Where's your egg?" And he said, I ate it. I was hungry. And he just thought, you know, he would have won with that egg. I gave him the better one. They went in, and he gave Wee Willie his egg. He did. He gave him the other egg, so Wee Willie had the beautiful egg. But he made him promise not to eat it. So Wee Willie promised not to eat the egg. And the competition took place, and guess what? They didn't win.
No!
They didn't win. Beautiful egg, all that. They didn't win. But that's okay. The person who won was nice enough. And they went home. And you know, from then on, every time that he went to pick up Wee Willie, he took eggs. More to come. Happy Easter. Okay, go back to your chairs. Go to Robin.
Actually, we're going to invite you to go with Robin and with the bunny. We'll send them out with our favorite song. Go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go. Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I'm honored to be one of the ministers of this congregation. Delighted this morning to have had Reverend Cheryl Lachey join us for our children's story. She is someone who has taught me over the years how to tell stories, and I'm delighted to be able to witness her gift this morning and thank her for being very much a part of our celebration today. We continue that celebration with an offering, which seems odd, doesn't it? And yet, when you look at where we are right now in our goal for the year, we are at $174,000 in pledges of a goal of 226. We have a little ways to go, but we are much farther than we were last year at this time, and we're delighted with the return that we've had thus far and look forward to more coming. This is a particular kind of offering in the way of pledges toward our next fiscal year. But each time we come together, we're offered an opportunity to share that which is symbolic of our own efforts and values, that which is a symbol of all that we do and are in the world, and our ability to shape the world by using the resources that are ours to use. So we invite an offering in service to the mission and ministry of this congregation in order that we might be able to transform the world in ways that make for more peace, more justice, more love, and more hope. So at this time, our morning offering will be received. Please join in hymn number 1038 found in your teal hymnals. You're welcome to remain seated for this hymn. Except for the choir. The Lord is my shepherd, I have all I need. She makes me lie down in green pastures, beside the still waters she will be. She restores my soul, she rights my wrongs. She leads me the path of good things. She fills my heart with songs. Even though I walk through a dark and dreary land, there is nothing that can shake me. She has said she won't forsake me. I'm in her hand. She sets a table before me in the presence of my foes. She anoints my head with oil, and my cup We come to that time in our service when we're given an opportunity to pause and consider that which is deepest in our hearts or most profoundly on our minds or in the work of our hands in the days that have transpired or in prospect of days to come. Joys and sorrows that touch us deeply and are given another measure of meaning because of our capacity to share them in the midst of a company that claims us as a co-journeyer. So I invite those of you who have joys or sorrows this day to come forward and form lines on either side of the sanctuary, to come and speak briefly into the microphone, telling us first who you are so that those using our auditory enhancement devices or joining us online can also participate in this important ritual, and then to light a candle if you so desire. And if you're joining us online this morning, you're welcome to place a joy or sorrow in the chat. Please precede it by the words, "Please read," so that we can find it quickly and include it in this part of our service. Are there joys or sorrows to be shared this day? Wait. Really? That is amazing. It's a first. It's an Easter miracle. We did it. No. There are days that ministers pray about, and then there are days. Actually, what's profound to me about this is that I think that there are days when joys and sorrows transcend the spoken word. Easter is one of those days for me. Not because it was 15 below zero out this morning when we had our 7 a.m. sunrise service, but because I walked into my office and the first thing I looked at was a portrait of my dad in his robes. He didn't wear a friar tuck outfit. He had a black Geneva robe, looking at a holy book, light descending on him, and thinking to myself, I remember. And I know every one of you has Easter memories. Family, maybe that you went to a service, perhaps it was just simply a gathering, and maybe those memories are fraught both with joy and with sorrow for those that are now gone, and perhaps for family gatherings that didn't always live up to the expectation. But Easter is about resurrection, is it not? It's about the ability to carry all of that and walk into a space where people greet you with a smile, recognize you as family, as kin, and welcome you regardless of your past, and without thought about what is next. So welcome to this moment of joy and sorrow. Unspoken, no less real. Let us be in the spirit of prayer and meditation. Spirit of life, who comes to us in the quiet of this day, beam of sunlight, chill of winter, prospect of bud. Awaken in us the power to become out of the season of winter, that we might shed the husk of all that has weighted us and leaf into the future the opportunity to bloom and blossom, to grow, and to abide in the sunlight, which is possibility yet unknown to us, and opportunity yet to come. For all of this and for all of those who help to give our life such deep and rich meaning, we give great and abiding thanks this day. Amen. And blessed be. sermon. Well, my first announcement this morning is that the bunny suit is no more. Oh, please. Let's try that again. The bunny suit is no more. It died yesterday, like many good things have died. I was informed late last night of its demise when it was taken from the dryer and the zipper had broken. I thought about asking whether or not it could be replaced with Velcro, but then I had this vision of scaring the bejesus out of the children when something popped forth unexpectedly as though the bunny had exploded, and decided that perhaps I would simply ask for another suit at another time, and I was greeted with a perhaps. I had asked the goddess of the house, you know her, whether or not it was possible to have another one, and it was greeted with the kind of sideways glance that I recognize from other conversations in the house, like the one that begins with the phrase, "Honey, where is the..." And the response is, "It's right there, right in front of you." "No, it's not." "Yes, it is." "No, it's not." "I will bet you whatever amount of money you want, it is right there." Has anyone else ever had this conversation before? Right? I have lost many a bet. But it is the conversation that I return to every Easter when I read the gospel story, right? The Gospel of John in particular was that early day in the week, and Mary came to the tomb and saw that the stone had been removed, and she went and got Simon Peter and another disciple, and they ran to the tomb, and they looked in and discovered that there was stuff there, but not what they were looking for, and they ran away. Meanwhile, Mary Magdalene stood there looking. And as she stood there looking, there were a couple of beings there who said to her, "What are you looking for?" And I think that what the text doesn't say that I expect that Mary would say is, "I know what I'm looking for, and I will find it." Unlike Peter, who stood there and looked at Mary and said, "Where is he?" And in the Greek, I suspect we would read, "He's right there in front of you." But instead, they ran away. She is said to see another being, a gardener, says the text, and has a conversation with the gardener. You all know this passage, right? I see some heads shaking up and down and others going left to right, and I think there's probably a generational gaffe that's going on here. So I thought this morning that we would hear this story told for those who were born after the year 1996. And for the rest of us, perhaps we can find the old story in the new language. So I'm going to invite Chloe Igana to come forward and share with us the gospel for Gen Z.
Of course. Oh, is it on? Okay. Of course it's on my phone. Although I will say, I feel like the rendition that already happened was very Gen Z to start with. I'm going to take some creative liberties with this. This was shared with me by Aaron. He has a copy of the New Testament that was translated into Gen Z by AI, and I feel like AI may have watched a little bit too much of 2006 MTV, like specifically Pimp My Ride. So I'm gonna take some creative liberties here. So on the first day of the week, Mary Magdalene shows up super early in the morning, while it's still dark as heck, at the tomb. And guess what? She peeps that the big old stone that covered the tomb has been moved. So she bolts over to Simon Peter and the other disciple, the one that Jesus was tight with, and she's like, yo, they snatched the Lord from the tomb, and we have no clue where they put him. Peter and the other disciple are like, for real? Let's bounce to the tomb and check it out. They both start sprinting like mad, but the other disciple outruns Peter and reaches the tomb first. The other disciple stoops down and looks inside, and he peeps the burial clothes just lying there, but he doesn't go in. And then Simon Peter shows up, charging into the tomb, and sees the burial clothes lying there. Oh, and by the way, the cloth that was wrapped around Jesus' head isn't with the burial clothes. It's all folded up in a separate spot. Then the other disciple, the one who reached the tomb first, goes inside too, and he sees it all and starts believing. At that point, they didn't fully understand the scriptures that said Jesus had to rise from the dead, so they peace out and head back to their own crib. There it is. But Mary stays outside the tomb, bawling her eyes out, and as she's crying, she stoops down and peeks into the tomb. And guess what she sees? 2 angels in white sitting where Jesus' body was, one at the head and the other at the feet. The angels are like, yo, why you weeping, woman? And Mary's like, they took away my Lord, and I have no clue where they put him. After saying that, she turns around and sees Jesus standing there, but she doesn't realize that it's him. Jesus asks her, why are you crying, woman? Who are you crying for? Thinking he's the gardener, she's like, if you moved him, just let me know where you put him, and I'll take care of it. Jesus was like, yo, Mary. She turned around and was like, Rabboni, which basically means master. Jesus was like, hold up, don't touch me yet. I haven't ascended to my Father. But go tell my peeps, my fam, that I'm ascending to my Father, who is also your Father, and to my God, who is also your God. So Mary Magdalene went and spilled the tea to the disciples, saying that she saw the Lord, and he dropped some knowledge on her.
You remember the honey, where's the whatever conversation? Seems to me that it has ancient precursors in whatever language. Moreover, it is profound to me as it is when my wife spots the thing right in front of me that Mary seems to see differently once she's awakened from the listlessness of her grief to the presence of her beloved. The question at the heart of this exchange is important. Who are you looking for? It harkens back to the beginning of John's gospel, interestingly enough, when the disciples of John the Baptizer meet Jesus for the first time, and Jesus asks them, what are you looking for? Commenting on this, Lucy Lind Hogan writes, is Jesus asking the same question of us this Easter morning? What are we looking for, or who are we looking for? It was when Jesus called Mary by name that she recognized her beloved Rabboni. It is the experience of recognition which causes one to recognize. Here is the essence of our story for all ages this morning. I was hungry. The moment that someone pitied became another human in need, like all humans who have known hunger. And that awareness awakened a soul to see a larger truth and the opportunity to serve a larger need. It is a story very much like the one told by William Adams this week in Medium. He writes, when I was a young boy, my father loved to fish. It was his sanctuary, a peaceful, gentle activity to let go of relying his soul. Fishing was not an escape, it was a meditation. He would often ask one of us, his children, to accompany him and a friend on early morning fishing expeditions. We would rise before dawn, drive to a nearby lake, crawl into a small boat, and cast off. With a small motor, we quietly flew across the water in the pre-dawn darkness to a favorite fishing spot that produced an abundance of possibilities. The boat was an essential tool because it took us to places that were virgin to other fishermen. Most often we fished without a word passing between us, he writes. Quiet and still together we witnessed the sunrise, the calm of the water shifting with a gentle breeze. We were in the world and yet not of it. He then pivots. The risen Christ's appearance, Jesus after his resurrection, is not necessarily experienced as a supernatural figure. Christ appears as a connection, a bridge between the spiritual and the physical worlds, just as Jesus did in the flesh. Christ seems more spiritual, while Jesus seems more worldly, both filling the gap. On the morning that she finds the tomb empty, Mary Magdalene mistakes Christ for a gardener. Soon after, Christ appears as a fellow traveler to two disciples on the road to Emmaus, and later Christ interrupts the fishermen who had turned disciples and returned to fishing, appearing as a fellow fisherman, offering advice. None of these people who had spent months with Jesus seemed to recognize him, not because he appears supernatural, but because he does not. His physical wounds, the pierced hands and the feet, and the spear wound in his side are on full display. He is real and belongs to this world. He returns to his father. When my father went fishing, his wounds were on full display. His stress, his depression, his anxiety, his mental illness were still present. At least they were for a while before the meditation of fishing came to grant him a better perspective. He wasn't asked to set his wounds aside. He was invited to bring them along, to lay them out in full view. His wounds were the world's false and broken promises that would never be satisfied. On or near the water, he writes, fishing was where he met with God to gain a new life and unburden his being from the weight he mistakenly thought he had to carry all by himself. He was able to bridge the gap and become whole again. Henry Nouwen was the one who said, the only authentic healers are always wounded healers. Adams then returns to his story. He says, once as we pulled the boat back in the dock after a very successful early morning fishing, we came alongside a lone fisherman and his son. Our fishing had been of a spiritual nature. The catch of fish was inconsequential. Nevertheless, we had a bucket full of fish. The man and his son were on the dock, looked more like their fishing had been of physical importance. They were fishing for their dinner. Without a boat, they were limited to fishing where they could, not where the fish were. My father asked the man if he had any luck. Not much, was the reply. We've been more than lucky, said my father. Would you like us to share? Oh, that's all right, said the man, waving us off. No, I insist, said my father. Then he poured our entire bucket of fish into the man's bucket. As my father and I walked up the lake bank to our car, we could still hear the other father and son celebrating. They exclaimed, "Won't Mom be surprised?" And they anticipated an evening feast. Adams notes, I know such events are giving back or being a part of healing others had as much to do with my father's mental healing as the quiet, serene moments on the water. But I wonder if the meditation on healing that took place on the water as we fished made the exchange of fish, the extension of healing, possible. We are all healers, he writes. Matthew Fox confirms this when he writes, deep down each one of us is a mystic. When we tap into that energy, we become alive again and we give birth. From the creativity that we release is born of prophetic vision and work that we all aspire to realize as our gift to the world. We want to serve in whatever capacity we can. Getting in touch with the mystic inside is the beginning of our deep service. Mysticism, he writes, is about awe and gratitude, the letting go and the letting be, the birth and the creativity and the compassion, including healing and celebration and justice making that our world so sorely needs. Every mystic is a healer, he writes. It's only as an adult that I've come to appreciate that my father and my mother's wounds were in many ways the vessel and the energy of their compassion, the stuff of recognition, if you will, and we each have them. And I wonder if you, like I, recognize how much energy we spend hiding them from each other and from ourselves. And yet, in the holiest moments of our own living, it is exactly what we have gained in terms of compassion and reverence and a sense of who we are that is born out of that experience that compels us into the lives of others. I think that's the genius of Jesus, by the way. Not to allow the world to define him, not to live as though he wasn't wounded, but to turn what the world did into an ultimate opportunity to be compassionate and provide a way for others to find their way through that world. And to me, that's resurrection. Because otherwise, our wounds are just simply an opportunity for us to bleed and not to grow. And on days like this, I am mindful of all of the people who were generous enough with me to allow me to see their humanness in a way that caused me to recognize my own. And such a day as this. On the morning that Mary went to the tomb, she came away in grief and in gladness, both. Her grief opened her to see what she could not believe. Her gladness opened her to believe what she could not see. Matthew Fox is right. We are all healers. May we have the courage to carry all that opens us to compassion and see all that belief demands of us. After all, Easter. It is Easter, and resurrection invites us to leave the tombs of our own making, or the tombs that have been made for us, and embrace the life we are meant to live, scars and all. Amidst our glorious incompleteness, we come alive to the ways we witness to each other's possibilities and power. And in this way, we become more of Jesus than about him. And all the other mystics and prophets that have been known to humankind. Let us remember this on this day and on all the days before us. Amen, and blessed be. Would you please join together in hymn number 1060, found in your teal hymnal. as we sing of hope and joy today. Some know only anguish and despair. Now can we lift our voices in this way, while some have pain and misery to spare. If the crumbling world we would renew, we must sing no ordinary song. Here's what a noisy God will never do. Every compassion must be wrong. Let this song our greatest hopes contain. After all wealth and child is true, but over every heartbeat its refrain, harmony from peaceful cities hewn. Sing of joy, all hammering each year. Sing of hope, all pulling every need. So shall we sing together and prevail. May every hallelujah bear a seed. My colleague Alex Holt writes, for those who celebrate the resurrection of Jesus, may this day be another affirmation of divine love and promise. For those who see the eternal story of new spring and life beginning anew, may you breathe deeply a season of promise and hope. For all who are experiencing despair and hopelessness this Easter, may you find in the darkness or depression a doorway to light and warmth that offers you freedom. For all of us, together we can do what no one isolated person can do. Rolling away the heavy stone aside reminds us we are far more powerful than we ever could be on our own. Our offering of strong hands to help, our prayers made real. Let us begin again to love. Amen, and blessed be. Please be seated. Once again, beloved, worship in this place has come to an end, but our service continues, next with an opportunity for fellowship and conversation. But before we go there, are there any short announcements? Just make certain it's on.
Are we on?
Should be a green light.
Hi, we're your co-hosts for game night. It's this Friday, April 5th. Please register in advance so we know how many chairs. And if you want pizza, you have to register so that we know how much pizza to buy. Right. And it's a great time, so bring a friend, bring some food, right. Bring some games. Join us.
Great, nice hat.
So there's a small collection of things for coffee hour this morning, and somebody hopefully has gotten it all together and no one to clean it up. So be very nice this morning, clean up your own stuff, help out in the kitchen, do whatever, because my foot is killing me and I can't do it.
Anyone else? Well, our children have probably combed every inch of the ground for Easter eggs and are enjoying themselves immensely. Let's go join them and do the same with the food in Fellowship Hall.